Okay, so we're not taking up too much more time waiting today. We're going to go ahead and get started, and hopefully everybody else will finish logging in before we get into full demo mode. So thanks for joining us today. It's Simplify Loan Origination with our friends from LendingWise. I'm your host, Chrissy Bro, with the American Association of Private Lenders. I can't get my screen to move. There we go. That's me. This is just 10 years old, so don't make fun of it. I got a couple extra pins these days. But if you have questions about today's presentation or any of the other presentations that we hold, please feel free to reach out to me. If it's something that can go to the host, I'll make sure that I make an introduction for you as well. Today, we're going to be talking with Chris Bueling. But before we go ahead and get started, I just want to give you a quick overview about how you can participate in today's demo, because we are going to be taking some questions at the end. So on your question panel, on your GoToWebinar toolbar, all you got to do is expand that, type in your question. Even if Chris talks about it during his presentation today, no big deal. Doing a recap at the end is always a great thing for everybody. And if you have anything that you want to expand on, that's a great opportunity for us to go ahead and answer that for everybody else as well. Because today is a sponsored presentation, it is going to be recorded and available to all attendees, not just the AAPL members. Just please give me about 2 business days until I can get the recording up and going. I typically like to have that done this afternoon, but just ask with everything else that give me 2 days, and it'll be up and rolling for you. Now, today's presenter is this very handsome man on the screen himself, Chris Bueling with LendingWise. He's been around for about 10 years. He's jumped into this mortgage lending arena, and he's created an opportunity to create a seamless process for the borrowers, and it helps the lenders all the way from the loan servicing to the closing portions of it. So he's going to be showing you around on his actual product today, a real demo. Chris is going to be also at the AAPL conference in November. He's going to be on stage presenting for us. So we're really excited for that this year. And we'll be having a good time. So as we're making this switch over, just hang on tight for me while he's getting his screen up and ready to go for you guys to see. Also, just to remind you to stick around to the end, because we've got some pretty cool things going on with some happy hours and some events that hopefully that you'll be involved in. Hey, Chris, are you all set? You ready to go? Do you want me to shut up now?
I'm enjoying the commentary. I love your bubbly personality. It's contagious. It makes me smile.
Oh, well, that's so nice to hear, because usually, there's a meme out there that says, when I walk into work and it's a real happy, lucky-go guy, and then it's an hour later and it's a dinosaur from Jurassic Park ready to kill and eat everybody. And that's typically my day. So I am glad that you're getting the happy part.
All right.
But we match each other for sure. So I'm going to let you take this over, and I'm going to shut up, okay? So if you need anything, right, you just let me know.
I'm taking over. All right. So thank you very much for that warm welcome, Chrissy, and thanks for the opportunity to present to the AAPL members. And thank you to everybody who's taken the time out from their busy day to learn about our platform. It's a frenzy out there, right? I mean, everybody's closing loans left and right, and a lot of new entrants into the space as well. So it's exciting times, that's for sure. And so today we're going to talk about a CRM, right, customer relationship management platform, and an LOS and loan servicing software all blended into one, which is kind of like the holy grail of the industry, right? You want to have a end-to-end solution, not having to juggle too many separate platforms. You want to try to have as much as you can under one roof, right? And so today we're going to cover a couple of things, right? The key takeaways that we want to cover is how to create a seamless borrower experience, right? You want to have a streamlined process, right? Making sure your loans are flowing from beginning to end. And you want to make sure that you have a scalable solution for growth, because everybody's growing a lot these days, and you want to make sure that your platform, you don't ever outgrow your platform that you get involved in setting up, right? Some of the key features that we'll cover today is the CRM portion, how you can manage borrowers, brokers, and investors and all your contacts under one CRM. Setting up your loan applications We actually have a really unique hybrid approach where we use a quick app and a full app process to intake loan scenarios. And we have our own built-in e-sign technology to automatically send out term sheets or authorizations or any custom docs, and they can be e-signed through the platform. We have a unique customer portal that allows you to see the status of the loan and upload all your documents. It's a mobile-friendly platform. We'll cover that today. We're really strong with our loan stages and milestones that are customizable per loan program. So we'll get into that. And the ability to auto-generate all your loan docs in PDF or Word. So we have a couple ways of handling that solution. And we'll talk about how we can automate the ACH portion of collecting loan payments and also doing draw management with funds control. We've got a lot of fans in our fan base, right? We love our customers, and a lot of them give us feedback and help us shape the direction of our platform. We really, really rely on the feedback of our clients to help build the software and make it better. So when somebody gives us good feedback, we're always rolling it out and everybody benefits, and we don't charge you for any of these updates and whatnot. And here's a quick overview of all the core features and products that we have. And we have the CRM, the loan origination, the loan servicing, the draw management. We also have asset management, loss mitigation, LendingWise, which is an API hub to connect to third-party vendors for credit, AVMs, and background checks, and then an investor and lender marketplace. A lot of this stuff is built from 2006, right? So our first, I'm gonna pause a minute and kind of tell a little story about me and my background. A lot of people don't know us because our parent company, the Loan Post, was originally founded in 2006 as a marketplace for brokers to connect to wholesale lenders. I don't know if anybody remembers the old days of Alt A and subprime and obviously hard money. And we had a directory of lenders at 400 lenders, and brokers would use it to match their loans with the right lender. We had several thousand brokers using that platform. And you can imagine, it was hot, but then in 2008, it wasn't so hot. And the market collapsed and a lot of lenders disappeared. Brokers were scrambling, and that marketplace didn't really stand a chance. So we migrated into loss mitigation, right? So we built out a very robust platform for loan mods and short sales and REOs and non-performing notes. And we had a lot of heavy hitters use us because we were right there in the market. We already had a platform built, we had a following, and it was an easy transition for us. And that's why we have such a robust platform that when I show you the demo today, you'll see this stuff wasn't built, in a year or so. It's been, a lot of years of us developing on it with a lot of feedback from a lot of, big players in the space. And so, let our numbers do the talking. So 2006 is when we launched. Over the past 12 years, we've had over 2 million loan files created in our system, well over 200 billion in loan volume. And we've had, over 1,200 companies use us over the years. So that's a little bit of our background and history. So, I'm not going to go off of PowerPoint, as you can tell. I don't like to do things too scripted. I like to kind of show, the proof is in the pudding in a way, and kind of show you the goods, right? So we're going to get straight into the platform. But actually, before I do want to highlight an illustration that helps give you guys a bird's eye view of how the software works from a user perspective. And some of you who are smaller, who don't have a lot of moving parts, there's a version of our software that can be launched and implemented that doesn't have too many options or branches and whatnot. But for the bigger companies, which is what it's really designed for, that's why I was saying earlier, this is a solution. We offer a solution that you really can't outgrow. You'll take a good appreciation of what I'm about to show you. So we have what's called back office employees. That's where your processors, underwriters, and closers, right? Any role you want to create, they're managing loan files that come from the sales channels down below. We call these sales channels branches. And by default, you'll have your main corporate branch, and branches will always have loan officers or brokers or agents, affiliates underneath it. And then they in turn manage borrowers, and then borrowers have loans. So each of these users, the employees, right, your back office team members, right, the branch, the broker level or loan officer level, and the borrower are all distinct user types that have their own profiles and login portals to manage their files and relationships respectively. Now, as a company, you can have secondary branches, right, that support different things. And depending on who I'm talking to during a demo, if they're a big wholesale lender, I would be talking about correspondents, right? Or, you know, mortgage companies or account executives, right? These are branches that have their own, so for example, a correspondent would be somebody white labeling your loan programs or products, and they would have their own network of brokers and affiliates, and they would be, you know, you would be able to see all their loans and underwrite their loans, and they would be closing the loans underneath your umbrella with your loan docs, right? Another purpose would be, hey, maybe you have a mortgage company down the street or a real estate office that submits a lot of referrals to you, and you want to track, you know, the principal there wants to track all the brokers or realtors underneath them and what volume they're sending. So you would set them up as a branch to kind of isolate that. Or maybe an account executive role who, you know, doubles down as a loan originator, but also as an account rep managing many brokers underneath them. And so that's what the AE branch is for. So those are all different use cases of why branches come in handy for our clients. And then you can also have third-party users for servicer, investor, attorney, appraiser, and they can be linked to specific loans only if they need to, you know, check out a loan or upload some docs or review the docs. So you can assign privileges to specific users only. And so that's the hierarchy of our system. There's more complexity to this if you want and need it. It's all tied to the permissions on the roles of each of these users. So let's go down into the dashboard at this point. So the first thing you'll see when you log in is a dashboard. Any user that logs in, if they're a loan officer or a branch level user, they'll see a dashboard just like this, but only for their files respectively, of course. So we're logged in as a manager, and we're going to see all the files that we have. These loan stages here are customizable, so you can change out the verbiage of what we call things. By default, everything I show you here today is pretty much out of the box, right? And so, but I'll highlight different things that you can change and alter, because what I've noticed over the years is that not one company is created equal, and I never wanted to build a system that was rigid. I want people to have flexible user experience to personalize how the software works for them. And so stages are one of them. And it highlights how many loans you have in each stage, and you can click on it and it takes you right to the pipeline. This next section here are critical files that are going to be closing soon, and it's sorted by the closing date. And so now we're looking at several files here. Let's look at Johnny Investor. And we can see here that we have workflows and required docs. We also have, you know, the loan amount, file status, the day it's closing, transaction type, loan program. Here's a whole note history of who's been working on it, what's been happening on it. If you click on it, you can see all the details of what's been going on. This orange highlighted section are system generated notes. So everything that gets done on the file, it stores it. But I can turn that off, and now I can see human entered notes, right, which are a little bit more interesting, tells a little bit more of a story of what's going on. We have all these different categories as well that you can choose to control, right? So all these categories of notes help you organize all your note history. When you make these notes, you can mark them as private or public. You can choose to notify via text or, you know, SMS, right, or email, and choose which party you want to notify. You know, any of your employees, the branch, the broker. Notice how if it's private, I can't notify the borrower, but if I make it public, now I can notify the borrower. So the system's really intelligent. It's organized in a way to help keep everybody on track with where you're at with the loans, okay? Especially when we get into the workflows. So we've designed our workflow system to be open and flexible. You can have one simple workflow that highlights everything that you need to do from start to finish, or you can break it down into different departments. If you're, you know, a bigger organization, you might have an application workflow, and you have to get everything done in the application workflow in order to get into the processing workflow. In this case, I blended processing and underwriting, so they share the same workflow. And then you have a closing workflow, and then you have a post-closing workflow as well. And these workflows have rules that you can associate to it. So if I were to click on order appraisal, I can have an email go out to the appraiser immediately with the order form, and 3 days later, a task is assigned to the processor to follow up on that appraisal. That kind of workflow rule works for anything, and they're date sensitive. So meaning you can say 3 days before closing or 7 days after closing, do this post-closing activity. And or 3 days before maturity, or 1 month before maturity, check on the loan. A lot of different dates that you can write rules to send out emails or create tasks and reminders, okay? The next section is your required docs. These required docs are defaulted in the system for you. You can edit them and change them and add your own docs, but they're there to help you have a preset list of things that you're trying to collect. And by the way, they are loan program specific. So if I'm doing a commercial loan, right, a multifamily commercial versus a construction loan versus fix and flip versus just a regular bridge loan, I may not need the same documents on each loan. So the system knows which documents you need based on the loan program. Same concept with the workflows. They're both loan program specific. So it knows to display certain steps and workflows based on the loan program. Oh, really cool here, you can activate drip campaigns. So if I wanted to activate a series of emails, a sales drip or a processing drip or a payment reminder drip, I have all the rules pre-written. I just check here to activate it or deactivate it. Notice how there's little comment bubbles here, let you put information in here. So I can make a note on that status, on that step, and check off the status of it. Completed, pending, needs legal review, and I can notify people about that comment, right? So we make it very easy to kind of tag other people and communicate with other people on the fly, on very granular level too. These are just your most recent deals. This shows you your file velocity, how long it takes you to move files from one stage to the next. These are your top producers. This is your task list, showing you all the things that you need to work on. It's a blended list of things that you've created for yourself, other people have created for you, or the system has auto-generated a task based on the workflow rules. Here's a heat map showing you all your deals in different states. We have other charts showing you different stats of information. You can break it down by different types of stages of your loan. You can also track your lead source. Where do all your deals come from? From REI meetup groups, from Google, from direct mail. So you can tag your loans and find out how many of them came from different referral sources. So the next thing I get into in our demos are the pipeline. This is a great way for you to track and see where you're at within each stage. These tabs represent your stages. Remember, they're customizable. I can actually put descriptions in each stage, so anybody on my team, even if they're new, they know what does it mean. Like for processing, all required docs must be uploaded before the loan is moved to underwriting unless manager approves fast tracking the loan. Because remember, a file can only be under one primary status. I can't have a file in processing and underwriting at the same time. The system doesn't let you do that. But you can have what's called substatus, right? So Johnny Investor has a bunch of substatuses enabled here. So I know that the appraisal's pending, the borrower's been flagged as unreachable, and it's also got an issue pending manager review. If I click here, it gives me a quick insight onto the file without having to open it, and I can now see, the status here, the substatus. I can see my note history. Tried calling over 6 times and emailing 5 times, not sure what happened. Right, here's the appraisal notes. So those are substatuses, right? So if I click on this, these are a list of all my substatuses. These are all customizable. Consider these as like tags or labels on your file, and they have categories. So if I'm in lead management mode, I might flag it as a hot lead, right? Or if I'm in processing mode, I can flag missing documents, borrower unreachable, verifying funds, right? So you have all these different categories. You can create your own categories and your own tags, okay? Same concept with the primary status as well. And so here I can set a borrower callback date, and it automatically sends me reminders to follow up with this lead. or this borrower, depends what stage the file's in, right? It could be a lead, it could be an application, it could be a loan in processing, it could be a loan that's being serviced, or it could be, you know, having outstanding draws, right? Here you can see some payment history on this file. Here you can click on an icon that shows you the life history, the audit trail of this file, what stages it was in, and who moved it from what stage to what stage, how many days did it sit in a particular stage. Here's your whole workflow history. Here's your email history. Here's all the documents that you sent and when. And here's all the parties that were assigned to the file and worked on it. So we like to give you lots of data, lots of interesting information with the click of a button, right? You can see here who's assigned to the file. In this case, I've got many different people assigned, including an investor, an underwriter, all right? And by the way, these views, these column headers, I can click right here and I can change my column headers. So if I want to see more information or different type of set of information because I'm an underwriter and the next user is a sales manager, like they care about different things. So every user can control and customize their own view. And from a manager standpoint who wants to run a report, I can search and sort files by a lot of different variables, by what stage of the workflow they're in, by what property state, what loan program, what substatus, and obviously I can do cross variation. Okay, so I want to see all files that, you know, are past due 30 days, that are part of the construction program, that are in this California state, right? And it'll give me only those results. If I want to search all closed loans and I want to export them, I click on export and then I choose the data sets that I want, and it gives me a full export in the CSV format. So that's the reporting, that's the pipeline, a lot of detailed information in here, right? And remember how this is all customizable. So let's now look at a loan file, right? So you click on this right here to open the file, opens it up right here. And let's go look at some of the different tabs of a loan file. You know what everyone usually asks when I do a demo at this point? Who's creating this file? Am I, my staff? Like, how does this loan even get created in the system? And that really opens up a nice discussion and an illustration of how the loan intake process works, right? So we have what's called a quick app and a full app. You don't have to use both. You can have just one if you want, but the quick app and full app, it has an interesting method. I'll actually highlight, and I'll do one real quick on this demo. But the idea is that you put these on your web form, a web form on your website. It's a hybrid, so a borrower or broker can fill it out, right? You can turn off the broker option if you know you're only doing retail stuff, right? But most people do work with brokers and they want the form to double down as affiliate tracking purposes, right? You can also create these quick apps or full apps through the user portal as a back office employee, a branch, broker, or borrower, okay? Other outside ways to create a file through connected investors. We've integrated with them, private lender link, and other third parties like Salesforce and HubSpot, and any other CRM that supports webhooks to post data into our system to create a loan file for you. And once these files are created, right, you can start pushing them through a funnel-like process that's tied to your desired workflow, right? That follows these stages, and these different actions can take place somewhat automatically, in some cases manually. You know, we like to blend a combination of, you know, automation with a human touch, of course. All right. So now, with that said, let me illustrate the, you know, quick app and full app concept, right? So we have these web forms. Let me open up a web form. So here's an example website. By the way, we offer website templates. So like, this is our website template. If you're interested in a new website, we can help you out and include that with our software offer, right? So pretend this is your site. You click on Apply Now. It takes you to the application page. This would be what's called a quick app. It says Quick Submission here. We actually have an option here where you can include all your supporting documents, whether it's FAQs or a rehab budget or whatever. You can have a drop down and they can download things that they might need. So here's that hybrid option here. If I'm a broker, right, or let's say Britt Larson is an inside loan officer and I'm a borrower, I would select Britt, right? Or if I'm a brand new broker, I haven't registered with this company, I would be able to fill out my information here and it would automatically register me as a broker in the system, okay? If I'm a returning broker, it would remember me and I wouldn't have to fill this stuff out again, okay? And now we're going to select a loan program. These loan programs are customizable, so you choose what programs you want, and you have rules and guidelines associated to each program that you can customize. Here you can choose to have, where are you in the process? I'm just looking around, I have a property under contract, or I own the property. Those are good things to know. So in this case, I've already filled out this information, but I'll go slow so you get an idea of what we're asking, right? We even have, what's your investment strategy? So we want to know more about the borrower. Do they have a business entity? What's the subject property information? There's an option that you can flip a switch, and if the broker's filling this out, it automatically knows not to ask for the property and the borrower details, right? Because some brokers don't like to give that information about the borrower, okay? Here's the loan terms. I'm going to show you two different types of loan terms that we offer. This is more manual entry, and there's another one that will auto-calculate the total loan amount and the ARV percentages and ratios and all that. So this is more of a manual approach to filling all that out. Here's additional questions, and tell us more about the deal. Easy flip in a hot market, house needs major repairs, blah, 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 right? So I can submit this. Before I do, just want to reiterate, all these fields, all these sections are personalizable. You can customize them and control what to show and what not to show, right? Because everybody's got their difference of opinion on what a quick app looks like and what a full app looks like. So when I click submit, that will end up going into the pipeline, right? So if I click on refresh, you'll see Mike Jones has a new deal entered in the system. So I'm going to click on Mike Jones. And let's check out the quick app that was just filled out. All right, so everything that was in that quick app is filled out. By the way, you can control what fields are mandatory and not mandatory, right? So you make sure that certain things that you always want, for sure. And I like this deal. I like his experience. I'm going to go to the loan info section. I'm going to issue a term sheet real quick, right? So, and I'm going to say this term sheet's good for 30 days, let's say. And he didn't issue a target closing date, so I'll leave that blank. And let's go ahead and put a rate. Let's say my cost of capital is 8. And then we're going to put 2 on the yield spread. So a lot of times lenders like to know what they're earning from a yield spread perspective, so you can track that. The borrower will only see the interest rate. And we're no escrows, or if that was yes, you could fill that stuff out. We're not cross-collateralizing it. If the answer is yes, the system would know to ask for more property information for all the other properties. But we'll keep this scenario simple. Yeah, we're definitely doing a rehab on this. So these are the the details on the property purchase and everything. And here we're going to say we'll do 100% financing on the rehab budget. They're putting 20% down. We're not going to finance prepaid interest reserve, but if we were, we can incorporate that. And in this case, full ARV comes back right below 70. So we're in the clear. If this was out of whack, for example, let's say the ARV was at 1.25, right? Then that would take our ARV out of whack, right? Now it's 75. But then I can come here and say, I want to auto-calculate 70% ARV, right? So it automatically does a reverse calculation on what the total loan amount should be, which is the 70%, and it auto-adjusts my rehab budget that I'm willing to lend on. So at this point, I'm not giving him 100%. I'm only going to give him 70% of that rehab budget. So in 2 seconds, it was able to auto-reverse the correct loan amount and the correct rehab budget to keep me at 70%. In this case, I'll leave it like that. These are my fees and costs. These are all customizable as well, but they also default. So I've pre-programmed all my fees to the loan program, so I don't have to think about this in the future. But if I want to override or give a discount, I can change it on the loan file. And this is calculating like the per diem interest per day, the cash to close, the required reserves. In this case, I'll just put 3 months reserves that I'd like to see within his bank statements. If I have any other reserve requirements, I can indicate that as well. These are additional questions. Based on the answers to these questions, they show up on the term sheet. If I leave them blank, they don't show up on the term sheet. And here's my additional terms and requirements that I can edit, personalize my term sheet. So I'm going to click Save. And this is a warning because I wrote some guidelines in my system that, I don't want to do loans greater than 70% ARV, so it's warning me that this loan exceeds that. So I'm going to ignore it and save it anyways. All right. So now we're going to go to our Docs tab. I'm going to issue this guy a pre-approval. I like the deal. I want to show him I'm quick. And let's go ahead and send out the full loan application they're going to sign. Let me see what file we're in here. Looks like we're in the wrong branch. Let me switch that branch. I had certain settings. Because we have multiple branches in this demo account, branches can have different settings based on, their correspondent. They don't have certain documents. So like now I have more documents available because I'm in a certain branch. All right, so in this case, I'm going to send the credit authorization. I'm going to send the term sheet. I want to review it first, right? Make sure everything's correct. This would be my logo. These are all the details of the loan. And everything spells out nice and clean. These are all the expected fees, required reserves, anything customized that I added. Okay, this is great, good to go. And I want him to sign the credit authorization. And I'm going to email these. These are going to be e-signable, by the way. I've got a few templates already created in my account here that we can make available to you guys as well. So the one I'm looking for is a pre-approval email. Congratulations, you're pre-approved. Everything populates the client information. You're pre-approved for a loan with us. Let's get you fast-tracked into the next stage so we can close your loan without any delays. Below is a link to e-sign the terms sheet, the authorization to pool credit, and payment authorization to order the appraisal for the property and then it lists the property address. We also need you to finish the full loan app. Please click the link below to finish your application, and you'll be able to upload some of the required documents we need to process and underwrite the loan. This is a money email. This is what makes or breaks a deal. If they move forward with you, you're going to see it from this email. They're going to sign they're going to complete the loan application. They're going to e-sign that term sheet, and they're going to e-sign the credit authorization. And if you also include that appraisal payment form, now you know you really got a client at that point because now they're committed with the paying on the appraisal, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and send this to the borrower, Mike Jones, and click send. So while that usually takes about a minute or two to go. So while we wait for that to send out to the client, I'll show you what the full application looks like once it's complete. So this would be your logo here, and then it's like a 1003, but more specific to commercial lending. All right, so here's the entity information, the business plan for the property, their assets, their debt, to kind of get a net worth of the client, borrower declarations, right, which is basically their background, any lawsuits, bankruptcy history, track record, ground up construction track record. Is there a broker or loan officer on this file? The HMDA information, and then these are your detailed requirements for that loan program, right? So it's loan program specific. So if it was a special loan, it would display something different than you know, your other loan programs. And then this would be e-signable. So let me see if our email came in. Let's go ahead and look at it. Open this up right here. So here's the notification that the loan officer gets and the branch manager, right? So he got Mike Jones, fix and flip, got all the details of the loan that we're looking for. And then here I can open it up in a PDF and look at it that way as well, okay? And so now this is the pre-approval email. So this is the processor sending to, you know, Mike. Mike can click on the full application, and I can also e-sign the term sheet and the credit authorization. So if I click here, this is what I'm demonstrating is how a quick app can link to a full app. So now all Mike has to do is fill out all the detailed information, like the social, like the date of birth, right? I want his borrower address. This is stuff that I would never ask in a quick app. I wouldn't get that many leads if I did it that way. I just want the quick app to be short and sweet, and then if the deal makes sense, I want them to fill out the full app, right? I mean, I could fill out the full app for him if I want. If the guy is a GC, always in the trenches, like not gonna do it, I'll take an app over the phone, not a problem. But most people can do this. It's mobile friendly, right? It's a mobile responsive page, so anybody can do this even from their iPhone, right? You know, this is an example of my version of a full app. Everybody has a difference of opinion. If you don't want to ask for all these examples of past deals, you, like I said earlier, you control what's on the quick app and what's on the full app, okay? Here's all the assets, the business entity details. You can add unlimited members and officers to the entity. Here's all the loan terms. Oh yeah, remember I told you earlier, the difference between the loan terms? Look how this auto-calculates the loan amount, the rehab budget that's getting financed, any closing costs that they want to include to be financed, and then all the ratios here, okay? So the next section here is additional questions. Notice how there's more questions now than there are in the quick app. And here's your title information, attorney information, insurance, HMDA information, right? Again, to repeat, all that's customizable. If you don't want all that, that's fine. Now, I'm going to click submit. Let me see if it warns me. I disabled all the mandatory fields, so that's why I was able to submit without filling out some of that stuff. So here's all the required documents that I need, but only on the full app stage. Kind of really critical that I point that out, because I'm not going to ask for a bunch of disclosures and authorizations or the full loan application to be uploaded. He just filled out the full application. He doesn't have those things, right? I know he does have bank statements. He might have a rehab budget already done. I know he has a driver's license, right? These are things that I know he may have right now. And if he's in work mode and he can drag and drop files in here right now, I want him to do that. I want to make it easy for him to do that. And that's part of the seamless borrower experience that we were talking about. You know, a lot of people complain the hardest part about closing a loan is collecting all the docs. Well, I bet you everybody who complains doesn't have a system like this, right? They send them a checklist, right? That's like a Word doc or a PDF that says everything under the sun that they would ever possibly need. If this, then that. If it's a refi, I need these 3 things. If it's a construction, I need this. And they send that to the borrower and they hope for the best. No. This is a smarter way of asking for exactly what you need. And this is just step 1 of what you need, because there's more things that you need from the borrower to close the loan. But let's ask for at least half of it up front, right? And let's get into the next phase, the next step, right? So we just sent out the pre-approval. Oh, you know what we should practice doing is let's go back to that email and let's sign the term sheet. So let me sign that real quick. I don't think I put a social in there. If I did, it would be the last 4 of my social. So in this case, so this is our own eSign, proprietary eSign platform. So you don't need to integrate with DocuSign or EchoSign or any other third party. So we built our own. And so now everything's ready to go. There's a transaction number that you can follow for an audit trail to track who signed it and when from what IP address. And right here is where I can sign, and I can, of course, draw my signature. Looks like I have a Adobe Flash issue. Okay. All right. Let's click Finish Signing. Oops, I think I clicked outside of it. Okay. Click Apply. You can also just type your signature. That's also acceptable from an e-sign perspective. So there, that window gave you two choices. So I can finish signing, and now I have a copy of this e-signed document, right, for my records, and also the system for Mike Jones will display a e-signed copy for the back office, right? So now you can see loan terms were signed on this day and time, and I can click on that to view the document from the back end, right? So I just got the term sheet e-signed. So all documents, even custom documents that we don't have built in our library, like you send us anything you want, we can auto-populate them and make them e-signable. There is a small fee for that as well. But now let's go ahead and look at the required documents, right? So let's just assume we got all the other stuff signed. It's go time, right? We need to get this loan in motion ASAP because this guy wants to close, you know, in 10 days. So what are the other things that we need? Actually, I might need to back up one step, right? I got excited on the term sheet, and now I backed up one step. Mike Jones is still filling out the full app, right? So I'm gonna drag and drop, you know, a logo here. Pretend that was my bank statements, right? And let's pretend this is another item here. Okay, cool. So I'm uploading all my things. Notice how I can drag multiple items, PDFs, images. I can have many things under one item. So that's an interesting thing, right? Because most people would think these are individual line items, but maybe bank statements, you have many different items, right? Or maybe financial statements, 401k, IRA, and bank. All kinds of statements can be one item, one line item, but many documents exist inside of it, right? So this is a great way to organize your stuff, okay? So once I do that, everything uploads right away in real time. I can make any comments or notes right here. And you control this thank you message, or you can have it redirect to your own thank you page with your own analytics for tracking and conversion tracking and all that. So now that that's been uploaded, now it makes sense to show you this step, which is I've got my processing hat on, and now I can see certain documents that have been uploaded, right, through the full app. And they default to pending review. So I'm going to review this item, right? So these are the things that were uploaded for that item. Okay, I reviewed them. They're great. I like them. I'll mark that as okay. But over here, let's look at the bank statements. Let's pretend there was something wrong with that. They're incomplete, see notes, or maybe resend wrong document, right? Not legible, right? I'll set up wrong document, and I'll even make a note and say, hey, these were the wrong statements. Please send, you know, you get the point. And here we go to notify somebody. If I want to notify the borrower of this issue, right, I could notify them. Or maybe it's need legal review, and I need to notify the attorney about, hey, can you review this document? I think there's an issue with it, right? So I'm just going to click save. I'm not going to notify anybody. I'm just going to save it. And so you do that with all these documents. Pay attention to how some of these are back office only, right? So you're not going to ask the borrower to upload the appraisal or a background check, right? Or their credit report. Those are things that you and your back office team are going to run or pull or generate yourselves, and you would upload it here so that way you have everything stored in one cloud-based system, and everybody can access it together, right? And then of course, the rest of the stuff here, like borrower, broker, branch, those are other user types that can see these things are required and upload them if needed, okay? If I want to hide something, like I don't need this, I don't need business bank statements, I'm just going to go off the guy's personal bank statements, right? So I can deactivate that, right? and that's no longer required. When I refresh, it'll go away actually. Here I want to add something new. Maybe I need to add a letter of explanation regarding a bankruptcy or foreclosure or short sale on the guy's record, right? So I could add that here and specify who can upload it, okay? And then I could notify anybody about, hey, I just added a new document that's needed, okay? That's on a one item level basis, okay? But now let's pretend we reviewed everything, and now I'm gonna send this borrower everything that's needed. So I have these templates created just for that. So let's say required doc status, right? Hey, Mike, this is a template. So you can make this thing say whatever you want. Below is an automated update email to inform you of the items we've received and their current loan status for your property, you know, blah, 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 blah. Please refer to the status of each item. When you look at this table here, it's clean, it's color coded. It shows exactly what's missing, what's needed, and the notes right here. These were the wrong statements, please resend, right? And so I can send this to the borrower, click send. Actually, I don't know why I didn't want to send them, so I already have one already opened. Hold on, let's go to the borrower, click send. All right, so while that's sending, that takes about a minute to hit. While we wait for that minute to hit, let's why don't we just review a different one? So this is another borrower that I'm working on, right? This is what the borrower would see. It's that table, right? With the notes over here, with the color coded of everything that's needed. These are things that they've already submitted. These are things that are under manager review. It's pretty clear what's going on, right? So then they can click on upload required docs, and now they see the status of their file and all the documents that are still needed. They want everything green. That's really their only job, right? All they care about is when are we closing and what do you need for me to close, right? This is what shows them that. We do have a full-fledged portal that you can give the borrower access to. It's helpful when they have more than one file, but during the processing phase, everybody uses this because it's clean, it's simple, it's mobile friendly. The borrower can actually use their iPhone or mobile phone and take a picture of a missing document and it takes it right from the camera, right? So that's an interesting way to handle that. So at that point, what we've done is we've sent out what's needed to the borrower. They upload the missing stuff. Everybody gets notified, especially the people who are assigned to the file. And let's migrate to, you know, all right, assume everything's collected, right? And everything's done. So now you can generate some loan documents, right? So maybe if you had your promissory note, mortgage note, any type of you know, other forms, you know, e-consent would be e-signable. You know, some of this stuff, you know, is not going to be e-signable, right? I don't know why we have this as e-signable because everything that's like mortgage note related has to have a wet signature, usually with a notary. So I could generate it that way. I have other documents in here that I can generate in Word. These are other templates that I have. Let me see if I have, here's a promissory note. So I can open it up in Word and edit it if I need to, or I can just open it straight away in a PDF, right? So let's look at this in a Word document. And there's my mortgage note. Everything pre-populates for everything that you need in there, right? So those are document wizard tools. And that might be a good time to transition into that particular feature, right? So I'm gonna go over here to templates. So I have document wizard and email wizard, right? So let's look at the document wizard tool. And so I've got a library of documents. So I can go to my promissory note. Let's go there. And so here's that. Here's how you insert tags, right? So I look to my right, there's a legend, right? So I've got entity information, I've got my company information, I've got property information, right? So if I want to show condition notes or how many bedrooms or what property, city, maybe I want the full property address. I literally just drag and drop it like that. Okay, so that's how you make your documents. Same concept for Email Wizard, right? So you can create your own email templates. Right, so let me see if I can pull open. So I have a lot of order forms for my appraisal request, BPO request, title insurance request, closing instructions. I have marketing emails. I have processing emails like missing documents, closing confirmation. These are all templates, right? So let's open up, let's say, the appraisal request. So everything uses merge tags to pre-populate. And now I can use this as an email template. And I can send that out of the system. All right, so when I go back to, let's go to the Docs tab, if I want to order an appraisal on this file, I would have to go to my Docs tab where everything is kind of synced. And then I scroll down, I go to this whole section, here's auto-generated documents, right? So I'm going to look for my document wizard. And I'm going to say appraisal request. So I check that off. And in this case, let's see, I'm going to email that. And let's see, file contacts, appraiser, Mike Smith, Appraisal Nation, right? So I check that off, and Mike is my rep over there, and he's going to get the appraisal. The reason why Mike is on there from Appraisal Nation is because under property info, I've linked that appraiser to the file, because you may have many different appraisers that you work with in different regions, right? So here I can set appraiser is right here. My realtor is right here for BPOs, right? So by the way, while I'm here, this is your property valuation section. So you may get an appraisal, you may get a BPO, right? You might pull an AVM, right? You may have 3 different sources of valuation. You need to decide, what are you internally assessing the value at, right? What are you as a lender going to determine the value, right? And that's what this section is for here. Okay. If there's HOA information, you can store that. Here's all that title, escrow, lender information, property insurance, pictures of the property. The next section that we should probably get into is budget and draws, I believe. Let me just pause for a minute and think. All right, so we did the generating of the closing docs, and let's fast forward to into they're ready for a draw, right? All right, so let's look at that real quick. So budget and draws. So let's, this is an existing file that has data in it already. So here we have the name of a project, Silver Bluff project. This was the original value. The ARV is aimed at 750. This was the initial loan amount, the rehab construction costs, right? They have, 28,000 in draws funded already. That leaves them with 121,000 available budget, 19% of project completion, right? And then these are my 2 draws that I've done, right? So this one was 25 grand. I approved 75% of it, which gives me 18,000, right? And then here I can set the date it was funded. And then here's my draw request for 10,000. That was 100% approved, so I did 10,000. So 10 plus 18, 750, right? Gives me that amount, which gives me my available budget. And then here's my uploads of, the construction draw request and the pictures and any completed items and things like that. This is all available from the borrower portal, right? Obviously, they can't change the status. They can't set the approval or date funded, right? So they all they can do is draw request and upload required docs, okay? And then, of course, they can set their budget here. This is, I forgot to show this early on in the application stage, but this is the budget tool to kind of give you an idea of what the overall estimated rehab budget is going to look like. Most people do tend to use like an Excel version, so we gave you some templates to use for project timeline. That's more for construction, new construction. This is more for just a rehab, but we give you those inside of the system. And that's the budget and draws tool. And the other thing I'm going to jump to now is, fast forwarding I guess the next step or stage, maybe we'll be looking at some servicing related functionality, right? So under servicing, you'll see that you have, a summary of, all the loan information, the accrual type, and, the loan amount. Are we doing this? I don't know if you guys have heard this or not, but they say, is this a full boat or not? Full boat meaning that are you charging on the full loan amount, or is it on just the current balance based on what's been drawn on, right? So you can toggle, back and forth, and it changes the payment, right? Here's important date information. What day is the payment due on? When's the maturity date? First loan payment date? When did it get paid off? When was the note signed? When did you record it? Here's some servicing details. How you track the default interest triggered by certain days. And do you want the billing to be manual or auto ACH? If you're servicing this outside of yourself, maybe none of this is relevant. Maybe you're just sending it to FCI or some other vendor, right? So you want to track who the servicer is, who was the lender. You want to track all that. In most cases, you might be the lender all the time, right? So you can flag that. Trustee information, you can flag that as well. Then, the investor information, and here you can track, what title are they vested under, what's the yield for that investor, total payments received so far, what's the expected monthly payment, how much did they put in, and what % of the loan is that, right? So all that is important, and then you can add, additional investors, so you can have multiple investors on one loan. So now that's the servicing side. Tracking the billing and all of that, we have all of the different phases and months. So like in this case, we're dealing with a 24-month term, and this is where the payment information will pre-populate. This is the payment ACH information. In some cases, you can pull it from a debit card. We're still updating a lot of this stuff, so quick disclosure, still a little bit under construction on this last leg of the servicing piece. Then you can track payables. Who do you want to pay, right? So if you want to pay, your origination points to a broker, you want to pay investors on an ongoing recurring basis, right? So you can pay out, different parties who are owed money as well. So everything, this probably would be properly labeled under maybe accounting, but currently it's labeled as billing and commissions, okay? All these other tabs have information that may or may not be relevant. So let's say, for example, assets and liabilities. That's 2 out of 10 people tell me they care about, the guy's detailed assets or liabilities, right? Or schedule of real estate, or on the same conversation, detailed income on their employment and monthly income. That's why we've been working really hard at helping you guys have full control of all of the form fields, right? I think we're getting close to approaching our full hour, so I am going to start aiming to wrap this up. So these are our form fields that you can control and edit, all the fields that you want to display on the full app, on the quick app, or in your back office, right? You can relabel these fields if I want to call that SSN or something else, right? So I can control what the label is on all of this across all the sections and all the fields throughout the whole application, okay? These are your workflows, right? So our workflow is tied to loan programs. And if I want to order an appraisal with all kinds of preset workflow rules, I'll say that event number 1 will be an email that is my order form for appraisal request, right? It's going to go from the acting user, and it's going to go to whoever the appraiser is set on that loan, right? And that goes out immediately, right? When I check off that step. And then event number 2 is 3 days after checking off that step, I want an SMS and an email going from the acting user to whoever the processor is on the file, or maybe a specific person in the company, okay? And I want a task or an email created to follow up with appraisal, right, for the client information. So that's just an example of one rule you can create. And remember I told you how there's all kinds of other dates, like when the note is signed, when the property taxes are due, maturity date, insurance expiration. Those are all really critical dates that you want to make sure things happen, that you follow up with the borrower, that you make sure things are getting done in a particular set period of time. This whole workflow engine can be used for automating a bunch of emails, for marketing, for processing, for servicing, you know, for follow-up on critical things and steps, right? So it's very diverse, it's flexible, it's open for however you guys want to do it. I'll jump over here to custom guidelines, so I can alter the system and how it works for fix and flip. These are my guidelines. These are the states that I lend in, the property types that I support, credit score range, right? These are my default fees, and these are different niches that I will allow for. And let's jump over here to required docs. This is another cool feature. So I can teach the system that, hey, you know, when it comes to a commercial property, let's say, you know, I need a rent roll. I want it from all parties. It's available to upload by all parties, but I really only care when it's a commercial type of program. I don't care about any of my other programs, or maybe mezzanine, that would be relevant, right? So rent roll, right? So I click save. Now, a background check. Okay, let's look at that one. That is back office only. I don't want a borrower to give me a background check, and I need that for all of these loan programs, right? Transactional funding, I don't need a background check. That's a 3-day short-term loan. I don't really need that. So that's how you build out your required docs to make them smart based on the loan program. I think I need to open up the conversation to some of the audience here shortly. While we wait for some questions to come in, let me think about a couple other things that I might have missed. I mean, there's a lot to cover. I mean, when you look at a robust system like this, there's a lot of moving parts. You know, let me speak to the moving parts in regards to the learning curve behind all this. Everything I showed you is almost pretty much out of the box, right? So when you light up a new account, you'll have all this stuff pre-built for you, but I know everyone's different, right? So you need the ability to customize all this stuff and change it and alter it. That's where the learning curve comes in. So you literally just, you need to learn how to do required docs. You need to know how to, you know, what these icons mean. That's an edit icon, that's a delete icon. You can, you know, everything's pretty intuitive. But there's training videos on each one of these sections. We offer hands-on training with GoToMeetings all the time. You know, our workflow engine here is pencils and delete icons, right? Click here to edit. It's pretty simple. It's just learning what it can do and what it can't do is the tricky part, and that's what we hope to solve for when we, you know, roll out, for example, an implementation guide. Right, so we'll give you a 10-step guide, says this is the stuff that you should concentrate on doing first. Setting up your users, set up your loan programs. Everybody's different. I got commercial lenders that have a wide range of loan programs, from equipment financing to business funding, unsecured, you know, loans to, you know, real estate loans, right? So you got to set up your loan programs. Setting up your quick app and full app, you know, that's a you know, a task in itself to learn how to do all that, right? But it gives you the power to control it all. You know, speaking of, I'm going to show one thing over here on the homepage. You know, creating a streamlined process and a seamless borrower experience, it doesn't come easy. You got to invest a little time up front in your business and making sure that you can create all that the way you want it to grow. And that's, you know, that's the little tricky part I have with clients, and making sure that they understand how to create that experience. And we try to give it to you out of the box, but again, to repeat, everybody's a little bit different. And we work with people of various sizes. Some are small, single users. Some are, you know, 20, 30 people deep in their company, and they've got a lot of moving parts in their operations. They want to make sure our software can handle it. I'm pretty much wrapped up, Chrissy. Do you,
okay.
Do we want
We've got some
to?
questions here we want to get answered so we can get people back to their afternoon. So let me get some of these. Normally I would go ahead and show your screen and your follow-up information, but some of these people are asking for some things to be shown to them again, so I'm not going to take control back from you or change that information up yet. So let me go ahead and start here with Paul. Paul said, what third parties does your software tie into for appraisals or services, for example?
Okay, so that's part of our ConnectWise API hub, right? So we work with 30 plus different vendors. I can send you a list. I don't, like Universal Credit, Credit Plus, to name a few. And within those vendors themselves, they offer numerous services, right? So for flood, for background check, for AVMs. So each CRA has a different set of services that they offer and support. So you got to check with them. On the appraisal side, we haven't finished that one yet, but that one will work with a platform that syncs to at least 50 different AMCs, right? So it's a smart integration to a platform that all the AMCs use, like Appraisal Nation. But that ETA on that one is probably a good 60 days out.
Okay, great. Next one from Jessica said, is there an iPhone app for borrower or broker to fill out a quick app?
Both the web forms, right? So when, for example, you're filling out a web form here, okay? The whole web form process is mobile friendly. It's not an app. You don't need an app. You don't want an app. That's creating friction. Having to download an app, you just created friction. What you want is mobile responsiveness, right? You want to be able to look at a form and have it dynamically change if they're on an iPad, if they're on a iPhone Plus or not. You want the screen to adapt, right? And you want them to be able to click a button and take a picture from their phone and upload items, right? So this whole page right here is what's called mobile friendly, mobile responsive, without having to download an app.
Okay. Rick is asking, where's the real estate owned section on the application?
The real estate owned is under assets and liabilities, right? So you can click add new, and then you're creating schedule of real estate right here. And you can add unlimited records for that. And then you can make that little module available on the full app as well. So when the borrower is filling out the application, they can plug in their schedule of real estate as well.
Okay, great. Craig says, can you show the screen where they do the bank reconciliations?
Banks reconciliation, is that like accounting for like on the lender side? Like, I think what maybe he's looking for is some type of reports, like billing commission reports, and maybe you want to run.
He said yes.
Yeah, okay. So I think what you want to do here is you want to run reports based off of the loans that you have that have certain transactions in the billing log, right? So if I go to a file and I go to the billing section, right? So if I have billing information in here, like my whole payment history, right? And I also have payables put in here, right? If all that stuff is filled in, and then I go to my report section, I can run that on a loan file basis or on a kind of on a batch basis, right? On all the files that have, all files that have been with balances owed from this quarter, let's say. Or maybe I want to do all my bridge loans, like loan program specific accounting. So there's a lot of search features here, and at the end of the day, it gives you a quick summary of the financials, and then you can do like a detailed summary. And then we've done customized reports for people to give them the data that they want so they can import it to like QuickBooks or any third party. I don't think I can do it from here because my files don't have a lot of billing data in there.
Gotcha. Well, you kind of just answered another question too that Rosetta had submitted. She says, does the accounting module integrate with QuickBooks?
Right. Not like a native I don't know what the right word is, but like through APIs and like a direct syncing, but with Excel export, you can import to QuickBooks.
Okay, great. And then can you show them how the borrower or the broker can upload their docs again?
Yeah, this is the required doc portal. It's available to the borrower or the broker, right? And the broker, you don't even have to pay for them as a user, and they're getting to use part of the platform and uploading the system, uploading docs into the file, right? You know, if the broker needs to have full access to the CRM and like manage their whole pipeline, I mean, at that point, they would count as a user. I mean, that's how we make money, right? We charge per user, which actually, I guess, probably brings up another interesting question. How much does it cost, right?
Nobody asked that, yeah.
Yeah, they're too blown away with all the features.
Yeah.
The pricing is kind of like the Salesforce model, right? Where we charge a monthly fee based on the number of users per seat. It's right around $60 a month per seat. And then the setup fee, you know, it varies depending on the different modules that we have and the size of the organization and the different, you know, however many moving parts they have. I mean, if you can imagine when you're dealing with, you know, really big clients like an Angel Oaks or you know, someone like that, they have a lot of moving parts, right? They have a big team, they got a lot of things going on, and so it is a higher price because it takes up more resources, more bandwidth from us, right? But if you're a single user and you know, 5 or less, right? It's a simple setup, and you could probably run with the setup out of the box, you know.
Perfect. We've got a couple of people that are actually, I'm going to merge a few of these questions together, so I hope everybody's kind of gathering that here. So we've got, can you generate the custom loan docs? Can you show where the 1098s or 99s would be? And then do they have, let me make sure I'm answering this right. Do we have to use both the Quick Apps or the full app web form? So big form question there for everybody. Forms and docs, all merged into one.
Okay, so can we use the quick, what was that question? Can we use the Quick App and the full app at the same, do we have to use it at the same time or something like that?
Do you have to use both the Quick App and the full app web form?
Okay, good question. Yeah, you know, some clients use it. I like how it depends how you want to run your business. The way I showed it in today's demo, we did a Quick App, you know, right off of the website, right? Really quick and easy. And then when I looked at the loan, I sent out a pre-approval email that linked to the full app. And now the borrower, all they had to do was fill in the missing fields that give me a full application. I think that's the most seamless, streamlined process you can imagine, right? Talking about a funnel-like process, okay? And then you have the uploading of documents that come after you finish the full application. So yeah, I fully agree to support using it. Do you have to? No, I've got clients that they create one simple application with some documents that can be uploaded, and that's it. I've got other clients, you know, like let's say First Rehab, they have a line of credit application, right? So they've customized their Quick App to be a, you know, line of credit application, and then their loan application is the full app. Right, so they took advantage of the two different applications for two different purposes. Okay. What else you got, Chrissy?
There is. Can you show 1098 and the 99s, and then how to generate those custom loan docs? And then we're out of time, so I'm going to stop answering questions after that.
Generating the custom loan docs. I mean, I guess generating any type of document really comes in two ways. It comes from the document wizard, and the document wizard is, you know, it's not meant for, you know, taking a government form like a 1003 or 4506 that has a lot of heavy formatting. You got to take like a simple Word document, and you can auto-populate using these merge tags, right? If you're going to use government forms like a 4506, we have a lot of them already built in our library, and they auto-generate. So, you know, for example, let me see if I can go to a loan file and show you some auto-generated documents like a 4506. All right, so we made this document, and then Mike Jones, populates in here, right? And then you choose what years you want your tax returns from, right? So we have done, government forms, not a problem. Here's a 1003. All right, so you can populate onto a 1003 as well. And, but yeah, anything that we're missing, send it to us and we'll add it to our library.
All right, perfect. With that, we're going to go ahead and shut down today.
One more thing, the Havana Nights party, Chrissy.
Oh yeah, let me show it. Hold on, I got to take the screen back over from you.
Wait, hold on. Let me show them the events page. So if you check out events.lendingwise.com, there's an event that we're hosting for Jurassi's Captivate East conference here in Miami, and we'll be hosting the after party. And this is a previous party that we did with Appraisal Nation, Triumph Capital, Connected Investors. This time around, Pier Street and AAPL, Appraisal Nation, MCM Capital, CFSI, right? All of us kind of gotten together, kind of throw a really big party. And when we do a party, we do it right. Too bad Chrissy's not going to make it.
I know. This is one of those parties that I'm jealous that I'm not going to be there for. Twice now.
Look, everybody, your whole team was there, and you weren't even there.
I know. Well, somebody's going to sit in the office and do spring work.
they keep you in the basement, huh?
Yeah, I tell Linda, it's Rapunzel, let down your hair.
So yeah, it's a great time. I mean, some people are just coming for the party.
Well, we know how to party in this industry. We got a lot of serious business going on, but letting loose is something we definitely know how to do. I've learned that from all these years doing our Vegas conference and hanging out with our buddies at Rossi. So you guys are all kinds of fun.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
For sure. Well, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We'll follow up with any of the questions that we weren't able to get to. We did run a little bit over today, so we don't want to keep anybody any longer than we already have. But we do appreciate your time, as always. Chris, great presentation. So much information to follow up with, and we have some fantastic questions from our audience today. We'll make sure we follow up with that as well. You guys have a great afternoon, great weekend. Hopefully we'll see you at one of these parties. At least I might be able to see you at one.
Well, I'll see you. I'll see you in Vegas.
That's right. I'll see you in Vegas. We're going to get ready for an awesome session, get some business taken care of, and then we're going to play hard, right?
Absolutely. All right. Take care. Thanks a lot, Chrissy, and thanks everybody for taking the time. Talk to you guys soon.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.